Most modern food production relies on regular inputs to keep going, but not that long ago, most of that work was done by the soils themselves. In the 1940s, millions of people grew nearly half of their own vegetables without modern supply chains and with far fewer synthetic inputs than we rely on today. That way of growing still exists, it's just no longer how most food gets grown. So, what were they doing differently, and what can we learn from it today? Let's break it down into 5 simple principles. Stay tuned to find out more. During World War II, around 20 million victory gardens were planted across the United States. By 1944, they produced roughly 40% of the nation's vegetables. In the UK, over 1 million allotments were cultivated, and domestic vegetable production rose sharply, with a substantial share coming from gardens. And while people did use fertilizers and pest control where needed, many of the underlying methods were different from today. They were working with the soils as living systems, not just something to add nutrients to, because soils aren't just dirt. They're conglomerates of bacteria, fungi, organic matter, structure and chemicals all interacting. And when that system is functioning, it starts doing a lot of the work for you. So let's jump into 5 secrets that people used in olden days to keep their soils healthy and alive. Number 1. Return what you grow. In natural systems, very little is wasted. Leaves fall from trees and plants die back. Most of that material is recycled back into the soils. And it's not waste, it's the system feeding itself. So, next time you finish a crop, consider cutting the plants at the base, chopping them into small pieces and leaving them on the surface, if they're healthy. This acts as a mulch. It can reduce evaporation, so keeping moisture in the soils, feeding the microbes, so these are the microbes that provide nutrients for the plants, and slowly returns nutrients from those broken down plant parts. There are a couple of important rules though. Must avoid leaving diseased plants, compost them properly or remove them. Chop materials smaller if they're too slow to break down, and don't pile it on too thick, so keep airflow going. Number 2. Stop growing alone. So most gardens and farmers grow crops separately, but plants evolved in communities. Some combinations actually help each other, so try a simple pairing. You could try growing beans near corn for instance, or plant low-growing crops like squash or herbs to shade the soils. You don't need a perfect Three Sisters system. This is that traditional planting of corn, beans and squash grown together to support each other, but combine plants that might help each other out. Just start mixing functions, for instance climbers with nitrogen fixers or legumes, and also ground cover, so you've got multiple layers all growing in the same area. So in this way, you're designing a system, not just planting monoculture rows. Number 3. Let plants adapt to you. So most seeds you buy are bred for broad performance, to grow reasonably well across many soils, climates and conditions. But your garden isn't broad, it's very specific. Your soils, your weather, your pests, they're all slightly different, and plants can respond to that. So if you save seeds from your own plants, you're not just saving the seeds, you're selecting for the conditions they grew in. So try this. Save seeds from your healthiest, most productive plants, and prioritise plants that handled stress well, so heat, drought, poor soils or pests, and avoid saving seeds from weak or diseased plants. Then store the seeds somewhere cool, dry and dark. And this works best with open pollinated varieties, so hybrid seeds don't always grow true to type. Then plant those seeds the following season. Then over time, across multiple growing cycles, you may start to see improved resilience to local stresses and more consistent performance in your conditions. This happens because you're gradually selecting plants whose traits suit your environment. Now it's not instant and it won't override everything, soil health and management still matter, but over time your plants can become better suited to your place. Number 4, feed the microbes and build life, not just fertility. So if your soil looks pale, compacted or lifeless, it probably is biologically depleted, and fertilizers alone won't fix that. What you need is a living structure, so plants absorb nutrients through their roots, but in most soils, microbes play a key role in making those nutrients available for the plants. So instead of only feeding the plants, you can support the organisms that feed the plants. Simple options include adding compost regularly or using diluted compost extracts, if well made, and avoid overusing chemicals that disrupt soil life. So you don't need to go to a forest and grab some soil, as some folks suggest. Even something small may help. A handful of compost spreading across a bed is not nothing, it's billions of organisms that could potentially help those plants grow. And number 5, never leave soil bare. So bare soils are exposed soils. They dry out, they're more vulnerable to erosion, and over time they can lose structure and biological activity. So in most natural systems, soil is rarely left uncovered for long. So if there's a period where you're not growing food, cover the soil with mulch, so things like straw, leaves or plant cuttings. Or grow a quick cover crop, try saying that quickly, a quick cover crop like clover or legumes depending on where you are in the world. Even a thin layer can reduce moisture loss, so it keeps that moisture in the soil, buffer temperature extremes and support microbial activity in the soils. Now let's step back. So none of this is overly complicated, but it is different. Modern systems tend to rely more on adding inputs and tightly controlling conditions, whereas these approaches place more emphasis on supporting the underlying biological processes. And now science is paying closer attention to this, so soil ecology, microbiomes, fungal networks, all reinforcing the same idea that fertility isn't just something you add, it emerges when the system is functioning well. And this isn't rejecting modern agriculture, and it's not pretending that the past was perfect, but something important was sidelined. Soils are alive, or they should be, and when you support them, they give more back than you expect. So if you're growing your own food, try one of these out and let me know how you get on by commenting below. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting or helpful, please do me a huge favour and click like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to keep making these educational videos. And please visit my website at www.naturegutbrain.com and feel free to sign up to my free newsletter at www.jakemrobinson.com. And please check out my popular science books. They're all about how nature and health is all interconnected. And remember, stay wild inside and out.